A 5'6" sophomore from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, number 24, Dawn Staley.
Dawn Staley, taking a moment to look at her past a little bit. She was at Virginia for 4 years under U.S. head coach. Can you talk to me about what she was like as a player?
Dawn was at 5'4", which she says she's 5'6", but at 5'4". Just kidding. We always have this big thing. I'm not very big either, so. And I always used to look her in the eye and say, "You're no bigger than me. You're 5'2". And she's like, "Oh, get out of here." But anyway, Dawn was just a transformative player here. She was a player that could control a game from the point guard position, from the 2 position. She oftentimes took over the small forward position. It didn't matter where she was. There were many times when Dawn could, if she was needed to, she could score, she would assist, she would also rebound the ball. She saw things long before anybody else saw them developing. She saw them 3 and 4 passes ahead. Dawn really grew as a player here. She came in very quiet, and left with a bang. And obviously you can see she's no longer quiet. After her freshman year, her mom, Dawn Staley, called me and said, "What'd you do to my daughter?" And I said, "What do you mean, what'd I do to your daughter?" She said, "She came home talking and she's really grown up. I'm amazed. It's just great." And so I was like, oh, phew. Because when a parent calls, you just never know what they might say.
What kind of role did you have in her kind of coming out of her shell a little bit while she was at Virginia?
Well, when you're a point guard, and Dawn started off as a point guard here, starting as a point guard, you have to be vocal. Everybody on the floor has to be vocal. And we really promoted everybody talking and everybody communicating. And we were a program that did that very, very early on. So she realized the importance of it. But when Dawn spoke on our team, there was silence. It was like everybody was like all ears. Everybody's leaning in. I mean, they wanted to know what Dawn thought, which has not always been a comfortable place for Dawn. She just wasn't really, didn't really like the limelight. As a matter of fact, she used to hide from the press.
Really?
I would say, "Okay, here are the people going to the press room," and Dawn would all just disappear. She just didn't like the limelight at all. She didn't want to get credit. She didn't want the limelight, and we used to have to chase after her to bring her to the press room, and she just didn't like it. But now she's thriving with it in every way, shape, and form, and standing up for women, and really helping others to get to where she is. What I loved about Dawn in her early days especially was she could communicate with anybody. It didn't matter race, color, creed, age. She communicated with everybody, and she had this real affinity for senior citizens. And she loved the grandmother and the grandfather type of people who would walk up to her, and she loved little children. And she would sit down, say in a kindergarten or a first grade, and every kid in the room would try to get on her lap. I mean, it was incredible how she would draw people to her.
When you look at her growth and how many people she's touched, what do you think her impact is today?
Well, I always thought she touched a lot of people, regardless of the year. And even when we go all the way back to college, she was touching people in a very, very positive way. She did not pick up the platform of what's going on right now for the Black women coaches until I think it was Carolyn Peck won the national championship and gave her a piece of the net. And she really took that to heart She just knows how to communicate with all kinds of people, and it's a gift.
I do want to talk a little bit about the team, and since you have been following the team very closely, do you have kind of a little analysis of maybe this matchup with Louisville, or just kind of their potential in this Final Four run?
Well, I think it'll be a good matchup for them. I don't know how they're going to defend Boston. There's just almost, I just don't see how they can. And I think if they can just find enough 3-point shooting to draw the defenders out a little bit, that Louisville's a good defensive team, but Dawn will know how to stretch their defense out and give her space. But the thing about Boston is that she really works well in tight areas, and but two very physical teams. So wow, it's going to be a slugfest.